Jason, first of all, Ariel, thank you for coming on the show. For some reason, I never find enough Air Force veterans to come on Borne the Battle. So, I mean, I'm a Marine veteran, so I know plenty of Marine veteran friends. Never enough airmen.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming on. I gotta say, I saw your debut on Dynamite, but I had no idea that you were a veteran.
Oh yeah, it's like a little personal secret, feels like.
No, but AEW was right on the ball, to be honest. I sent them a random email to their media relations in the middle of the night, um, asking if they had any veteran wrestlers or anybody in the promotion that was a veteran. And I got to say, they were very quick to respond. They were very accommodating, and they recommended you right away.
Awesome. So I love my job.
Absolutely. Now, I heard them mention on the broadcast of your last match, and I wondered that you were a veteran, that you're an Air Force veteran, and I was wondering, I was like, did they do that on the account of us asking if they had a veteran on the roster?
No, they were asking me just about different things beforehand for commentary. So, that's one of the first things I always say. Oh, well, I'm a veteran.
Got you. Very good. Very good. Now, I'm pretty sure that you've been on other wrestling podcasts, but is Borne the Battle, are we the first podcast to feature you because of your military service?
Yes. Yes, you are actually.
All right. I love scooping the community. I love scooping them.
Yeah.
I saw that you're from Florida. Is that where you call home?
Yes. I'm from Clearwater, Florida.
Tampa Bay fan, Jags fan, any college teams, or is it just wrestling?
Well, I'm a big Gators fan.
Okay.
I was a huge Tony Dungy fan. So when he actually left the Bucks and went to the Colts, I pretty much followed him in fandom. And then when he retired, I stopped picking teams.
Got you. Well, as with every veteran, Ariel, there comes a time when you know that military service is the next step. Of course, in earlier generations, people were drafted. Not everyone chose to enlist. Ariel, when did you first know that the Air Force was your next step in life?
Well, when I graduated high school, I necessarily didn't want to go to college. I did my first year because my mom really wanted me to do it.
Yeah.
But I remembered promising her when I was younger, because she wanted to go to the Air Force, but she didn't have anybody to push her to follow her dreams.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Mommy, I'll go to the Air Force for you. And I made this big promise about it. And she's like, yeah, girl, sure, whatever. You won't do it. And when I was like, well, what do I want to do? And I was like, well, I want to go to the Air Force, and I want to work on cars. I want to learn how to do a trade. I want something a little bit different than just books and everything.
Yeah.
So after senior year, I was like, nope. After first year of college, I was like, I'm out of here.
Wow. So you kept a promise to your mom.
Oh yeah. Any big promise that I've told her I've kept, and it was only really 3 big ones.
Wow.
So I only have one more left.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Take her to Greece.
Take her to Greece. Okay.
Yeah. She always wanted to go. I was like, one day, Mom, I'll get you to Greece.
Oh, you were on your way to that. What year did you enlist in the Air Force?
It was 2008. So it feels like forever.
Yeah. Now you were a fire truck mechanic. Now
Yes.
that was the vehicle management designator that you were assigned to. Was it fire trucks? Most motor T or vehicle mechanics I knew in the military, worked on in the motor pool, either on Humvees or 7 tons.
Yeah.
How did it specifically become fire trucks for you?
Well, when I was looking at the jobs with my recruiter, and he was like, you can pick any job you want. And I was like, well, I want to work with them. I want to work with my hands, because I've always been like that, taking apart doorbells and stuff, all that stuff, and working with cars with my stepdad. And so I was like, well, I want to be a mechanic. He's like, well, you can work with fire trucks. And I was like, that's awesome. That's great. He's like, you get to work on the flight line. So he pretty much sold me on it. He's like, you have to learn gas engines first, and then you go on to diesel. And I was like, well, that's 2 birds, 1 stone.
Mm-hmm. Now in the Air Force, is that a specific MOS just for fire trucks? Or is it part of the motor T, and then they say, hey, in school they put you out towards a specialty vehicle?
It's a specialty. I had to go to a naval base, Port Hueneme in California.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a shared base, and I had to train with them and learn with them, and then go on to a separate fire truck class after my first eight or so weeks learning gas engines.
Joint environments are a fun place to learn, man. I don't know about you. I was
Oh yeah.
I was a public or combat camera, and I did a joint school with all four services. It's just cool to see a different slice of the military outside of your own
Oh
service.
yeah. I never knew how good I had it. Like my grandfather, he was he was an '06 captain in the Navy. He was like, go to the Air Force. And when I got stationed at a naval base, and I realized like how many times they have to go out there and do dress and march and swim, and I was like, this is, you guys want too much. Like I understood why they called us the chair force. I was like, I get it, guys, I get it.
My brother is an airman. First he was in the Army, then he went in the Air Force, and now he works for the Marine Corps as a civilian. I told him he finally joined a real branch when he got out. But you know, when I was 17, the first base I ever saw was the plush life of the Air Force at Travis Air Force Base, and I was like, cool deal. You know, the military life might be good for me too. And then I turned around and joined the Marine Corps. You know,
Right.
I was going to join the Air Force with my best friend, JC, but we had a gentleman's agreement to go in the buddy system together. And then I broke that agreement, jump into the Marine Corps, and then he ended up joining and getting stationed in Virginia Beach near me. And I visited him, and it reminded me how good the Air Force had it in terms of, like, you know, base amenities and
Yeah, it's the perks.
While you were in, who was either your best friend or your greatest mentor?
My best friend was Stephanie Holiday. We had our own language, and we would just talk to each other, and it would annoy our TIs and everything, and we would just have so much fun going to the beach and just party, and it was just a vibe. Like we were in training together in California, and then we ended up getting stationed at the same base at Seymour Johnson in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Like, what was your best memory with Stephanie?
When she first got there, we were talking and stuff, and she was like going through a lot of different things and everything. And I'm Christian, so of course my natural response is to talk about God.
Yeah.
And she ended up, you know, becoming Christian and, you know, turning her life over, and everything started to get better for her. And we went and got matching tattoos, and it's one of my favorite tattoos on my body, and it says faith, Hebrews 11:1. And basically it's, you know, faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. So I just kind of like, not necessarily drilled that into her, but that was like her big message that she got out of it. So one of my favorite ones. Got
you. Yeah, you guys got something that you'll have together forever. That's awesome. You guys still talk?
Yeah, we still message each other and everything, and she's like still in the military, still in the Air Force.
Oh, she's still in. Got you.
Yeah.
Now, you know, at Seymour Johnson, did you have any deployments? Did you get out of the base anywhere?
I didn't get a chance to. When they were about to send me out, it was when my Crohn's disease started to act up, so I couldn't go because of all of like my flare-ups and everything.
Got you. I saw that in your feature that AEW did. You know, the get to know Swole, if you will. Doing my research, you know, you talked about some pretty deep stuff in there, and you shared that deeply personal story about Crohn's disease. Talk to me now, Ariel. My birthday is April 3rd, so that story caught my attention. Oh. Yeah. Talk to me about April 3rd, 2008.
Well, that day I went to the doctors, and I was complaining about my stomach hurting, and she said that, oh, we think you have ulcers. You know, take this medicine, go home, you'll be, you know, we'll check on you and do a colonoscopy and see where you're at. And literally, I got out of the office, and I went to go use the restroom, and nothing but blood came out. And I went to my house, and my parents' house, and I was like, I just need to lay down. I need to sit down. And my dad looked at me, and he's a pastor, so when he said these words, it caught me completely off guard. He's like, you look like death. And he's like, you were pale white. And I looked in the mirror, and all of my color was just gone.
Wow.
And I was like, Mom, I just need to lay down. I'll be fine. Nothing like a nap can't fix. And she was like, okay, are you sure? And then she kept asking me again, and I was like, okay, you know, you ask somebody something 3 times, they're like, sure, whatever, just get you to stop talking. I was like, yes, Mom, I'll go. And I remember being in the back seat, and I remember just laying there still and having like one of those outer body experiences, my body just heating up, and next thing you know, I'm in the hospital. Like I'm waking up, and I'm like, what happened? What happened? They're like, oh, we have to get a CT scan so we can see what's going on.
Yeah.
They did the scan, came back, and they were like, ma'am, your daughter has less than 30 minutes to live.
Wow.
They said that my small intestines was swallowing my larger intestines, and there was a blockage, and my intestines was going to burst, and then from there it was just seconds, and I would be dead.
Wow.
And so she's like, okay, so they prepped me in 10 minutes. I was like flying through the hospital to the OR, and they had to like just inject me with the medicine to like stabilize me and stuff and put me to sleep.
Yeah.
And I remember just going to sleep, and I was like, okay, it's like, all right, I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see. I wake up, and I have tubes coming out of my nose. I have catheters, and I'm just like, what happened? And the doctor was like, well, we had to take out about 1.5 feet of your intestines. Like, you actually have Crohn's disease. And they were like, it's hereditary, so we don't know who you got it from. It's like, whoever it is that gave it to you. And usually this disease is found in like kids and infants.
Yeah.
So apparently it was laying dormant for all those years and spiked. Like as soon as, so I had like 18 years of like, yeah, I'm good. I can eat whatever I want. It's great. But it was like a buildup, like a ticking bomb.
Wow.
Then I was laid up in there for about 2 weeks. And yeah, my parents call it the other birthday since they had to pretty much revive me back after pretty much flatlining in the back of my mom's car. Yeah, it's scary to think about, but I'm so grateful for like my experiences, and
Yeah, that was that's one of the most extreme cases of Crohn's disease I've ever heard. I got a friend from high school that has Crohn's disease, but I mean it sounds like you went through some. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, it's the highest form Crohn's disease. I think they call it toxic megacolon.
Got you. Now there's a lot of veterans out there that are facing medical ailments. Maybe being told by. I mean, you're now you've been able to turn that around and become a professional wrestler. And I think that's amazing. But there's a lot of veterans out there that are facing a medical ailment, and maybe they're being told by doctors and professionals in their industries that they can't do certain things. Were you ever told that you couldn't do something because of this disease?
Oh yeah. Literally after my surgery, I was told that I wouldn't be able to do any sports, any like high contact, high impact type sports.
Yeah.
The likelihood of me having a kid was like slim to none. They were like, nope, just it's not possible because of the stress and because of my belly and where they put the incision and stuff. So I was just like, I don't believe in those words, but sure.
Now, do you have a kid?
I do. She just turned 6 in December. My little joy, Odessa.
So in your feature, you said should not be in your vocabulary.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You should never limit yourself at all.
What should be in your vocabulary?
Discipline. I mean, I tell people all the time, you're not going to be motivated, but that's why you have to be disciplined. Discipline is a whole different thing.
Got you. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, it's like when I was getting in shape and when I was trying to, be a wrestler and become a superstar, I was like, there are people out there that are going to want this harder. They're gonna train for it. It's like you can't use anything that's going on with you as a crutch. You can complain, because I complain all day. But
I think that we get that from when we were junior enlisted. Like Lance criminals and young airmen are just made to complain.
Yeah, like I complain all day, but I have to have that discipline to continue to keep going and continue to keep striving.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody out there that's going to be waiting on me to fulfill my dreams in order for them to get the encouragement to fulfill theirs.
Yeah.
So it's like you think about that. So many people are literally depending on you to fulfill your dreams. Why not just do it?
Absolutely, 100%. Now, did you have to go through all this because you said that you joined the military in 2008? Did you have to go through all this while you were in the military?
My Crohn's disease, yes.
Wow.
I'd had three surgeries while I was in the military.
Was it
for my Crohn's disease?
Was it a contributing factor as like a reason to get out?
Yes. My Crohn's disease started to have big flare-ups to the point where I couldn't do any of my duties at all. Like they had to put me on like light duty, and I couldn't lift anything that was like over 10 pounds. And having the back-to-back surgeries, they were just like, okay, look, I think it's about time for you to phase out.
And forget about being deployable, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No chance whatsoever. I mean, that didn't get me out of doing the exercises,
sure.
Which sucks still.
Sure.
They're like, oh no, 12-hour shifts.
Yeah, it's like, oh, light duty. You can't do crunches, but you can run, or you can, they'll figure something out. Yeah, absolutely.
You can run. You can pack wheel bearings and do oil changes. There's nothing wrong with you.
But it helps you develop that discipline a little bit.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So you got out in 2012, if I'm doing my math right.
10.
2010. Gotcha. So you did what, a 2-year stint? Was Crohn's disease like a medical? You got out because of a medical reason?
Yes.
Gotcha.
My Crohn's disease, and then my run sheet's super long when it comes to my medical history.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Now, what was it like to get out at that time as a transition from going from the military life to civilian in that time?
It was, I guess, unsettling to a point where I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
See, because I have like these things I have to check off, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And I was like, I knew the last thing on my list was to be a wrestler, but I was not in the headspace to go there and pursue it.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'll find something. And I just ended up working at GameStop, like as a holiday hire. And I ended up staying on board because I just loved games. I ended up falling in love with like all my professions.
Oh my gosh. Xbox or PS, PlayStation, which one do you do?
I play both.
Both of them? Okay. What's your game of choice?
Actually, right now, graphic-wise, PlayStation 4, because like Assassin's Creed Odyssey is beautiful on there. It's something about a visually striking game, like, just makes me so giddy. I'm very happy about that. And Breakpoint, been playing a lot of Tom Clancy. Now on my Xbox, I love my racing games. All my sports games are on there,
Okay.
like Hitman.
Okay.
Of course, Gears of War. I literally have like a life-size retro Lancer in my house.
That's
I'm
awesome.
a Gears of War fanatic. Yeah, like it makes all the sounds with the chainsaw and everything. It's
Yes. Yes. I play Madden right now. That's how I keep in touch with a lot of my military friends. We have an online franchise, and then
oh yeah,
and then Call of Duty Warzone.
Madden was like the first game I ever played.
Yeah. So the rule is you can't have your favorite team. The team has to be rated under an 80, and we play in online franchise mode. So you have to build.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you have to build a crappy team. It could be the Browns. It could be just.
That's great though.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps them from just picking all the heaters.
Mm-hmm. And you can only do like 4 trades a year. I can get into it, but yeah, yeah. So you went to GameStop. So you're like kind of like living out my dreams a little bit on the gaming side too. So how did you get into wrestling? Were you a fan growing up? How'd you get into it? When and where did you get your training?
Yes, I was always a fan of wrestling. Yeah, living in Clearwater, just everyone was there. It was just like a little hub of wrestlers.
I didn't know that at all.
It's crazy. Like they just lived in Bel Air. and in the little subdivision, and it was just insane seeing like real life wrestlers just walking around with their dogs, or they're fascinated because you can do a kickflip. You know, like,
I mean, were you just walking by some and just like, yo, check this out, boom, and then like bust something out or what?
yeah, it was at a skate park, and literally Macho Man was like, "Oh, how do you do that?" I'm like this. I was like, wow, it's amazing. So you're just kind of like spoiled at that point, you know?
No kidding.
Right? So when I started dating Cedric, he was wrestling and training over at High Spots in Charlotte, North Carolina, under number one George South.
Yeah.
And he's literally, like I said, he's literally the best trainer. He knows his stuff. He's proper, and he always has great stories. He's just a lovable guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started training with him, I felt so comfortable and I felt so crisp. You know, you felt like you're just getting the right stuff. When something's right, you feel it.
Yeah.
And plus, everybody would bring their kids to George. Like, here, George, teach them something.
Now, indies starting out, that can be a tough road. You know, we've had an independent wrestler on Borne the Battle before, Jan Ostrom, who trained out of California and actually trained with Frankie Kazarian, Scorpio Sky, and others. I personally randomly when I was in the Marine Corps, I traveled to Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I was going to pull security for a wrestling show outside of a car dealership. Only the ref didn't show up, and then I had to become the ref, which gave me an appreciation, which gave me going from security to ref. It totally gave me an appreciation for what refs do, because, you know, I was 20 years old and I had no clue what I was doing. So yeah, I know that indie wrestling can be a tough road sometimes.
It is. Oh, it's completely tough. It's hard getting on that road and you're driving so many hours just eating for exposure, $50, Mountain Dew, and a hot dog, or you're just exhausted.
Yeah. Talk to me about your journey to AEW. How'd you go from indie to AEW?
Well, at the top of the year, year in 2019, I started pretty much my journey to get into shape, and I kept feeling like, oh, there's something coming. I don't know what it is, but you know, I have a saying: if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
So as I was preparing myself for whatever it was, I knew I had a title match for the Rise Championship in Toronto for the Summit. It was like a thing where they combined Shimmer and Fatales and just a whole bunch of people just into one. Smash Wrestling.
Okay.
And I won my first championship there. And I got my hand raised by Bull Nakano. And me thinking that this was my moment that I was preparing myself for, because she's never done that before. So I was like, this is an amazing honor for myself.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, I'm about to have my first title defense in Chicago at Berwyn Eagles. And I get a message from Brandy. She's like, you're going to be in Chicago during this time, right? And I was like, oh, yes. Because they were having All Out during that time. And
yeah.
she's like, okay, I want to book you for this Battle Royal. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This has turned out to be a good weekend.
No kidding. How did Brandy get your number? Was it through a network, through Cedric, or?
No, she just DM'd me. Like, she literally just.
Wow. Very cool.
Messaged me. I was just like, hey. And this is when I went through a change, because I was trying to decide whether, because I was still being called Ariel Monroe. It's like, but Big Swole was just like a nickname.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? It kept feeling it. I was like, it's time to cut it off. Cut off Ariel Monroe. It's time just for Big Swole. That's it. That's all you're going to be.
Yeah.
And as soon as I changed it, boom, next thing you know, here comes the Battle Royal. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I'm in this Battle Royal with my friends. I got Little Swole, Nicole Savoy. I got Mama Swole, Mercedes Martinez. And it was amazing, like, leading up to that day. I was so nervous. I was like, got this, you're ready. Like, you're in shape, you look great. Just go out there and show and prove.
Yeah.
And I remember in the middle of doing it, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna bop, come in, do my stuff. I come in, do my thing. I hear crowd chanting. And I'm like, is that for me? No, I said it out loud.
Was this at All Out?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of the ring with Nyla hitting my stuff. I hear them chanting, Big Swole. I was like, is that for me? I hit the ropes, do my move. Nyla says, yeah, girl. And it was like biggest pop. I'm like, oh my gosh, they know who I am. I'm not too.
Oh my gosh. So was that the moment that you realized, yeah, I can do this on a national level for a career?
Yes. Yes. Well, as myself, as Big Swole, it gave me complete confidence to be myself.
Yeah.
I think the very, very first time was I had a enhancement match against Nia Jax on Raw.
Okay.
And I was nervous because of all the people. Now, I performed in front of masses before, but that was when I was dancing.
Yeah.
But this was different.
Okay. Did you dance in like high school or something?
Yeah, I danced in high school and a little bit in college, and hip hop, tap, jazz,
tracking,
a little bit of ballet. Yeah.
Tracking.
And right.
But this is different. Yeah, wrestling's a little different.
This was a little different.
Yeah.
I felt it then, and I was like, I can do this. And then in that moment, went all out. I was like, oh, yes, I can do this as myself.
Yeah. So your moniker is Big Swole. To you,
yes.
What is Big Swole? What does it represent? It always looks like you're just having like a great time. To me, it just looks like you're just having like a great time out there.
Oh, yeah. It's just, I break it up. It doesn't just mean, muscles or anything like that, because I'm fairly slim.
Yeah,
I'm not fooling anybody.
Yeah, but you got muscles though. Hey.
Yeah, I got muscles. I got enough.
Yeah.
I'm muscle passing at this point.
Muscle passing.
But yeah, no, it's a big personality and swole mentality. Which basically, the swole mentality is everything in my life is grand. It's big. Everything I put 110% into it. I give it my all. Like in my faith, I go all out, and in my wrestling, I try to go all out. In everything, I try to give all of it, and that's like what the swole mentality is.
I dig it.
Yeah. Keep it go big.
Got you. Now that match at All Out, was that the moment that I saw in that feature where Kenny Omega basically offered you a contract backstage?
No, they kept bringing me back for different matches.
Yeah.
And when I had my first singles match, it was the craziest thing about it is that how serendipitous everything was. Is that it was in Charlotte.
Wow.
And out of all the places on the card that I could be, I was the opener. And so I felt the pressure, and I was like, "This is in Charlotte," and I knew who was in the stands. I had fans in the stands. I had family in there. I had like my best friends, and I had the people who would always say that I would never do this, or I would never get out of Cedric's shadow, or that I was not meant for this, or would never book me.
Really?
I knew that they were there, and I was like, this is my proving moment.
Yeah.
I went out there with Sheeta, and I had a blast. I had a great match. It was over. Went to the back, and I was like, oh, they're filming something. Let me be quiet. Trying to be respectful. Like I'm out of breath. I'm like, oh, okay, let me just be quiet real quick. I'm just walking. And then Kenny just walks up to me, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, yes.
Yeah, we're doing something.
Right. I was like, oh, this is for me? Oh, for me? And I guess the best part about it, like outside of it being Charlotte, and I guess the cherry on top was that Hangman Page. I've known TV for 9 years.
Yeah.
And I remember him when he was just like a little flat-chested, skinny country boy, Adam Page. Very quiet. He loves his mama's biscuits.
Yeah.
Very quiet man. And like till now, seeing him grow as well, and he was one of the first people I saw after the cameras cut off. Well, the cameras didn't cut off; it caught me, and I was like, "Oh, Stevie!" And I grabbed him and I hugged him, and it was just it was like that moment where you're just like, this is where I belong. I'm with people that I've known for almost a decade. I'm with people that are friends and family. No one has egos.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
No, that was a very cool moment to see on the screen there. And it's cool that you didn't even expect it. You didn't even expect it.
No, not at all.
That's awesome. So what's next for Ariel Big Swole Hole? What are your next immediate plans? Now, you talked about Sheeta. She's the new champ.
Right.
And the feature that I saw that you wrestled her. Is she on your radar, or is there another feud that you're looking to settle?
She's definitely on my radar, but the immediate person, the person that is immediately in front of me is Brittany. Brittany Baker. She is number one on my list. Once I squash her after she comes back, then I will move on to claim the AEW Women's Championship. But first, I got to get rid of her.
I dig it. So, we've covered a lot of ground. Swole, what is one thing that you learned in service that you apply to what you do today?
Honestly, just excellence. That's basically what the Air Force really just taught me. Just excellence in all we do.
The commitment to excellence.
Yeah, it's service before self. It's taught me how to humble myself and truly give.
Mm-hmm.
It also allowed me to understand different things in different environments because it's very male dominant when you're a mechanic.
Absolutely.
So it taught me how to work in certain areas where you have the clubs, or in the circles.
Very interesting. I have never heard that answer before. I ask everyone that, and that's a very interesting answer based on your perspective as a wrestler too.
Mm-hmm.
You can correlate both of those. That they're male dominated, but I'm breaking it. But I'm breaking in.
Like, look, I'm not just some quiet person. Like, no, I'm here. I have a voice, and when I come in there, it's a whole different show. Like, oh, Swole's here. Yeah, that's why. Like,
here's the party.
Literally, Matt Hardy. He calls me the Swoleese. He's like, the Swoleese is here. So I just walk around. I'm like, Swoleese is here.
That's awesome. Swole, is there a veteran nonprofit or individual that you've worked with or have had experience with who you'd like to mention?
Yes. I'm not gonna say his first name because I don't want to get him out. But his last name is Green because we always call each other by our last names.
Yeah.
Green was a dear friend of mine, and he only got into the service because his parents were lifers. His brother went to the service as well.
Yeah.
And his brother ended up passing away from IED. He stepped on it in front of him.
Wow.
On deployment. So he's always the person I think about the most when I think about the military and my time and my service is that how the effect it can have on because they say they mentally break you down to build you up, so you can be stronger than ever. And just the fact that he went through that and he's still okay,
Yeah.
He still has his head on his shoulders. He got the necessary help, tools, and stuff to make sure that he was stable.
Yeah. Swole, is there anything else that I might have missed or that we haven't talked about that you'd like to share?
I would say keep smiling. My dad, he tells me that a lot. He always tells me, keep smiling. And for a while, it was always annoying. But it wasn't until I got the gist of it. No matter what happens in your life, perspective, it's your output, it's how you react to it. You have to keep smiling. You have to endure through. Don't let anybody tell you how your life is going to go. Because no matter what any doctor or physician says, it's not set in stone. If you have faith in it, if you can will it to be it, then it can happen.